When Jews began arriving in growing numbers in the late 1800s, critics of Zionism sometimes claim that the Jews stole the land. The truth is more complex. The land was acquired through legal means. Hey everybody, I'm Felipe and this is the chapter 2 of the project Through the Smoke. What history really says about Israel and the region. The Ottoman Empire and early land sales. Before the modern Israel state, before the British Mandate, and long before the term occupation entered common discourse, the land known as Palestine was part of the vast Ottoman Empire. For centuries, this territory was a neglected and underdeveloped frontier of a decaying imperial system with limited infrastructure, sparse population, and little central governance. But it's precisely during this time, the late 19th and the early 20th centuries, that the seeds of modern conflict began to take root. When Jews began arriving in growing numbers in the late 1800s, they did not invade. They purchased land legally, often from absentee Arab landlords who lived in cities like Beirut, Damascus, or Istanbul. These sales were sanctioned under Ottoman law and, in many cases, facilitated by intermediaries who saw economic opportunity. The Jews who arrived were often idealistic, poor, and deeply committed to agricultural labor. They weren't buying palaces, they were draining swamps, planting trees, and founding kibbutzim, cooperative farms built on socialist principles. It's really important to understand what the land was like at that time. While there were certainly Palestinian Arab communities in cities like Jaffa, Nablus, and Jerusalem, large areas were sparsely populated or barely cultivated. Mark Twain, who visited in 1867, described it as a desolate country, hard to see a human being. Of course, his account shouldn't be taken as absolute, but it reflects the general reality. This was not a bustling, fully inhabited territory teeming with farmers and city dwellers. It was a land largely overlooked by its Ottoman rulers. Critics of Zionism sometimes claim that the Jews stole the land, but the historical record doesn't support that accusation. The vast majority of early Jewish-owned land was purchased at the market rates, and sometimes at highly inflated prices. In fact, some Arab tenants were displaced not by Jewish settlers, but by their own landlords who cashed out for profit. This does not minimize the pain of displacement, but it shifts the blame from an imaginary conquest to the harsh realities of a changing economic under imperial decline. Arab opposition to Jewish migration did begin to rise, especially after World War I, but in the early decades, there were many cases of peaceful coexistence, joint labor, and even mutual admiration between Jews and Arabs. Hostility was not automatic. It was stoked later by political leaders, regional powers, and religious incitement. Understanding the Ottoman-era land dynamics is essential. It shows that the narrative of theft is not only misleading, it ignores the legal, economic, and historical process that were at play. The truth is more complex. The land was acquired through legal means, cultivated with immense effort, and transformed by people who believed they were reviving a homeland, not displacing another. With the collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I, the Middle East was carved up by European powers, primarily Britain and France.